Hello and welcome to this video. I'll be going over my daily spends budgeting calculator here. This is all part of my PropertyAdvice.ae project. This calculator is nothing to do with property actually, but it may help people create a saving plan in a slightly different way, which actually allows them to reach their goals. And if their goals is to invest in property, well, you can have a look at the site for various other calculators to do with property as well. But this is going to focus specifically on just saving and budgeting every month. Now, what this daily spends budgeting is all about is actually looking at the per day figures. So we get paid usually per month. In some cases, we get paid per quarter. In some cases, it could be all over the place. But either way, you should be able to figure out with a little bit of effort how much you actually get paid per day and how much you actually spend per day. Now, some of our expenses typically come out per month, but some of them might be per week, some of them might be twice a month, some of them might be once a year. Either way, if you look at your total income per day, your total fixed expense per day, and you'll be able to come up with a disposable income, then set a daily limit for your spending and see what that can do for your savings. So that's that's it in a nutshell. But I've created this calculator to make that whole process really easy for you. The first step is to look at your income and your fixed expenses. So here's an example. Let's say you have a salary of 15,000. Now this will work for any currency, by the way. I may refer to dirhams and I may refer to UAE specific things like diwa, for example, in Dubai, but you could apply this to any currency that works just the same. So your salary, in the income and the expenses, we need to calculate everything per month. So even if you do get your salary per year, for example, you would just have to divide that number by 12 and type into only the yellow boxes on this spreadsheet. So your salary is 15,000, that per year is 180,000. Your flight allowance, sometimes you get other allowances. For example, a flight allowance might be around 4,000 a year. So we can just divide that per month. And maybe you've got a side hustle, or maybe you've got some other income from somewhere, and you can enter that per month here as well. Now, your fixed expenses, and by the way, you could do this as a couple or as a family as well, but I will just assume this is a single person here. And they spend 5,000 on rent, they spend 400 on diwa, they've got a loan, they've also got a car loan, they're paying car insurance of about this price per year, so they had to work backwards to figure it out per month, and so on. So we've got fuel, maintenance, phone, gym, flights. Now the flights one, yes, you may not be spending 500 dirhams on flights a month, but you do spend 6,000 on it as a minimum per year. So you should work it out per month, and that will help this calculator work more efficiently. So if we look at the results then, so your combined total income is just over 200,000 dirhams a year, which is about 17,000 a month, 4,000 a week, and 570 per day. And your fixed expenses, these are things that you absolutely must pay. You can't get away from them. You've got to pay these things in your life. So these are the expenses that you've kind of committed to. Your disposable income then in step 3, this is the first part of this, the reason this whole calculator exists. It's simply to tell you that if you go about your day, your average day or your average week or your average month, and you only spend 256 dirhams, you will be absolutely fine because all of these expenses will still be covered, right? But the interesting thing starts to happen when you actually look at how much do you actually spend per day on things like food, going out, getting takeaways, entertainment events, parties, other travels, spontaneous things, anything to do with your life that isn't actually written down here already. This is your budget for all of that. Okay. Now, obviously, some of you may have very strict meal plans, or you've got already a budget in place for your grocery shopping and so on, which you could also put in here. But let's assume this is a younger professional who is often eating out or getting coffees and so on. They don't really have that fixed budget yet, this is essentially your limit per day or per week or per month, right? If you actually think about it though, 256 dirhams a day is quite a lot for a single person to spend on just normal life. There are days when you spend nothing, and there'll be days when you spend double or triple this. But as an average, if you could try and set a limit for your daily spending or your weekly spending on your monthly spending, but think of it per day, it can actually change your attitude towards your fixed expenses and your income. If you're living every month, just waiting for that salary, you might find that if you switch to using this method, you won't care when your salary is. You won't actually care what your bank balance is either. As long as everything is ticking away and you remember that I cannot, whatever happens, spend more than 256 dirhams today, I'll always be fine. Now, if you do have a savings goal in mind, you could actually give yourself a limit. So if this person in this scenario just gave themselves a limit of 100 dirhams a day, that's quite easy to track. When they pull up to the fuel station, they can still put fuel in their car, that's fine, because that's in this table. But everything else, you are limiting yourself to just spending 100 dirhams a day. And this actually makes you very quickly realize how much all those coffees add up to. So if you set yourself this limit, a simpler way may be to just withdraw 700 dirhams a week in cash and just keep it in your wallet and pay as you go. Or you can set alerts and things on various banking apps. But if you just imagine, I'm just going to set a limit of 100 dirhams a day, and you start to actually enjoy the days when you don't spend a single dirham. And you realize that you don't actually mind when your salary is paid. You're not waiting for it because you've got this limit anyway. And that actually helps me shift my mindset towards finances and budgeting, because I found it really difficult to kind of compute every month, like, what am I supposed to pay this month? Oh, my car insurance is due, or I need to update my phone plan, I've got something else, or I've got these flights to buy. All of that kind of goes away, and you just remember, you just live your life happily knowing I'm only going to spend 100 dirhams a day. If you did that, well, this is how much you're going to save. So in this scenario, this person should be saving 57,000 dirhams a year. Okay. Now, that doesn't necessarily always happen, and perhaps this is a bit of a tight limit for you. But if you go up to 150 dirhams a day, well, this is how much you'll save. Likewise, if you go down to just 75 dirhams a day, this is how much you'll save. So now, a person with this level of income at some point may feel that, oh, I'm going to set myself a target. I really want to save 100,000 dirhams. It also helps you realize you simply cannot do that. There is no way to do that unless you change some of these fixed expenses as well, because your disposable, the absolute maximum before you've even eaten, is 93,000 dirhams. So it helps you kind of be aware of your situation and set yourself a simple limit that you can remember. You wake up every morning, you go about your day, and, well, great, if you only spent 90 dirhams that day, not 9 but 90, you're on track for saving this much. Now, I did even develop this into an app which actually helps you track your spending, but I realized that was taking it too far. I would recommend everyone do this just once, just to see what your actual disposable income is per day and per week and per month and so on. And if you were to set a limit, how much is your savings potential? What could you actually save? So that's the real benefit of doing this. It's quick and easy. You do have to put in these fixed expenses and then set yourself some sort of limit and see how much you're capable of saving. And perhaps if you're trying to save up for that 100,000 dirham deposit for something, well, this person may need to go up to about 120 perhaps. Yeah, 120 dirhams a day should be their budget, or about $1,000 or 3,650 dirhams a month. Okay, if they can try and stick to that budget in a year, they're going to have 50,000. It's fairly straightforward, and they can continue paying all the things they're paying. They can continue getting their salary whenever it's credited. They're not really worried about that because they know they only have this budget to play with. This also actually helps to figure out how much you actually need in order to live a comfortable life. And these kind of fixed expenses plus seeing your kind of daily spending on those other things. And this actually helps for future planning as well when it comes to retirement planning. When we start removing some of these, how much other incomes are you going to need from your other investments in order to maintain the same kind of lifestyle you currently have? So there will be more on this topic on PropertyAdvice.ae. If you're considering buying over renting, I have a video on that, and property investment as well. If you think this will be useful, please let me know. If you'd like any clarifications, you can reach me in the comment section, or you can of course email me at properyadvice.ae. See you later, guys, and happy saving.